And are we live? That is the question. I'm not sure how this works on the YouTube. Oh, it looks like it's live. It looks like it's live. Okay. Pop over here real quick. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Get this all together. Pull this a little closer for me. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. I'm going to give it a moment, let some people get in here. Over to this again. Alright, I do believe that it is actually running. I don't think I have any issues at this moment. Actually, let me bring the chat onto the main screen so that way we can all partake. Maybe that ain't gonna stay like that, huh? I'll have to figure that out. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure that it's going. Being that the recording will stay up, allow me to introduce myself. So my name is Brian D. I'm an artist. I have a lot of opinions. I smoke a lot of weed. And I think that we can have some fun. Right now, I say we kind of take it easy because I'm not really sure how this whole YouTube streaming thing works. Flipping over here from Twitch, I was doing some gaming stuff over there just for shits and giggles. Alright. So I got some videos picked out. It's like a little series of things. Figure we can do some reaction stuff. We can just sit here and get high and have a good time. I'm not sure if anybody's into this yet. I'm not sure how YouTube pushes their lives. Come over here real quick. I'm just curious. For my own curiosity. I'm not sure if anybody's into this yet. Oh, I just had to see if it sounded good. Okay. I'm happy with that. If it's a little too low, just let me know. So let's just jump right into this. I found this hilarious video by Trevor Wallace. He just posted it today. Let's peep it out.
And that about sums up registering your Tesla, the battery one. Now, you're not going to be one of those stupid idiots who get a custom license plate, are you?
A custom license plate?
What the fuck is happening? Hey, can I get you back here, please?
LOL, gas. Why fill up? Zero gas for me. Gas? Never heard of her. Come quick. Plug me up.
Wait, not like that. Betty, we got someone going to Nam or some shit.
I pass gas. Chevron? Chevron. Model sex? Cause I'm having it.
Are you on drugs? I think he's on drugs. I've seen documentaries.
Shell, go to hell. Alone for life. No bitches.
Excuse me.
76, eat dicks, respectfully.
This is not cute anymore.
Just the tip. Elon Musk, I'm about to Elon bust.
Betty, he's definitely on something. I'll see you next time. motherfucker.
I've got it.
Great.
Nice.
And that about sums up registering your Tesla.
Okay. That dude's hilarious. Honestly, might just scroll through his page at some point and just watch a lot of his content. Shit is just some of the funniest stuff on YouTube right now, honestly. Now, if you're in here, if you got any issues with the sound, just let me know. Again, I'm just kind of playing some light stuff, just getting a... My bad, I thought my cat was about to jump on me. Getting a feel for how it works. Alright, so I found this. I haven't started watching it yet. If you're not familiar, there's been one of the greatest tragedies in comedy lately to hit us right before World War III. Tim Dillon and Ben Avery are no longer working together. Ben posted a little tweet, and I think he screenshotted that tweet and put it on Instagram, basically saying that he hasn't been working with him for the last few weeks. There's been a lot of speculation about what it is. A lot of people are saying that Tim was being a narcissist, that he was just ripping into Ben too much and kind of being a dick. Although that was the funniest part of the show. So we're about to see. We're gonna peep this out real quick. Again, let me know if you're having any issues with the audio. I'm not even sure if anybody's in here yet. For some reason, it won't let me monitor the chat while I click on the other screen. So yeah, I do apologize if I miss anything. But yeah, let's just jump right into this.
What's the deal with airplane peanuts?
Ben has left the show. You want to tell them you tried to start your own merch line.
No,
and I called the police. That's not it, Ben.
Okay, let me try again.
Swing and a miss from producer extraordinaire,
Man.
Ben Avery. Swing and a miss.
Are you suing me or are you suing my wife's family?
I swear to God, they send these dirty pieces of shit.
But if I do the thing where I bring up your behavior, then now we're back in the cycle. So I have to I have to pretend that I'm the big piece of shit.
All the comments like Ben should die. People like you and people that grew up in places like you did are going to have to feel pain now. Thanks, Ben. It's
Alright, so that's always been the funniest part of the show. If that's genuinely the reason why this thing split up, I'd be surprised. I feel like there has to be more to it.
these go up more. I mean, here's what's amazing. Here's what these podcast producers don't realize. They've all won a lottery. Ben really doesn't do his job. This is very interesting. Ben really doesn't do his job. If he had set the mic up in the beginning,
I couldn't get any more.
if he had set the
over.
mic up in the beginning, you'd be fine. He coasts, and all he does is complain that he has to travel, and him and his wife can't get drunk. Thank you, Ben. You don't have to telegraph what you're doing. You can just deliver. Do you ever feel like you work too hard?
Check, test.
It's all fake.
It's a clapper, so
It's
I can
so
do the thing
fake.
and then sync.
I mean, it's a pretty big fuck up.
But
People can have your head for this. Let's just say all podcast producers, anyone can do your job. I hate Ben.
we're rolling.
I know we are. It's the Tim Dillon. Can you sit in your chair and do the show? Where are you going?
I was looking for my water.
I wish Ben was killed by the Russians and not you.
Well, there's a lot of boxes I really like.
Oh my God, will you tell us about some of them, you fucking bitch? Everyone's very disappointed in your behavior right now. I think you're even disappointed in your behavior right now.
Ben Avery announced on Instagram Monday that he is no longer the producer of The Tim Dillon Show, saying, "I've been receiving a lot of messages and comments about this, so I want to say something officially. Unfortunately, I no longer work on the show as of the last few weeks. I'm extremely grateful for my time with the show and what it has meant to so many people. I wish nothing but the best for Tim. I'm also thankful for the support from all the people that have emailed and messaged me over the years or have met me in person. It means a lot to me. I'm working on some projects now, and I'm excited to share them with you all as soon as I can. Ben."
Ben is
That's crazy. So there's a couple videos, I'll try to pull them up, where they have some pretty big spats and they do go back and forth, but I always thought that that was just character for the show. I mean, let me know if you felt like he was actually being a bully to Ben, or if he was actually being the ultimate comedy punching bag. Because to me, that's how it always felt.
Left the show. We should get. That's the big news.
Oh, that was the big news?
That's the big news. Ben's no longer with the show.
Yeah, no.
And we love Ben, and we wish him well. And it wasn't over money. He was offered a lot of money to stay, but he wants to do other creative things. He doesn't want to be a giggler. I got to respect that. You know, I respect.
Stay tuned for the next Ben Avery project.
Whatever it is. I mean, God bless him. And you know, it's not over money. So I do feel like I said, hey, here's a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Do something you don't love to do anymore. And because for me, I go do it. Take the money.
Right.
But for him, he has this morality and this code where he's like, I don't want to use you for money. I'm not happy. And I, you know, maybe I created a hostile work environment with, you know, and I'd say shut up to him on the show. Right. I didn't mean shut up. I meant I don't want you to talk.
At first.
All right. So that sounds like he has a little bit of a regret. Sounds like he really tried to keep him. I don't know. I feel like if he wants to do his own thing, he definitely should, but to just leave the show if there was no actual animosity, if there was nothing in particular that really like set it off. I mean, they were best friends. They would fight, but I mean, best friends fight. They get over it. But he could have definitely started some endeavors and, you know, allowed a transition time. You know what I mean? I don't know. It seems so sudden. It seems like the true end of an era.
People thought this was a joke, including myself. It seems like some sort of long bit that they would pull off. Olivia Sienna said, please be a joke. Did Tim try to grab the wrong microphone?
Everyone listening to this already thinks there's an article coming out in the LA Times with a crying Ben Avery. I mean, everyone already, there's no one not thinking he was right. There's nobody listening to the show right now that does not believe he was molested.
Right.
No way.
It certainly seems real at this point, but it makes sense why we thought they might have been joking. I mean, this seems like something that Tim and Ben might do, some sort of long ruse. It fits the dynamic of the whole show. Tim constantly shitting on Ben, saying that he's sabotaging the show, pretending to fire him, looking for new producers.
Tim has said, I think even on Rogan, he said it a few times, that he could not do the show without Ben. The idea that he's going to try to just do his little monologue, like I don't know, I guess he could try to be Bill Burr about it, you know, he could take that little format, but genuinely, like, he added so much to the show. I don't even see how he can go on without it unless he tries to just do a whole guest thing, you know what I mean? Or I don't know. That's crazy. What do you think?
Sense why we thought this might have been a joke, but it seems real at this point. Brosup said Tim fires him every couple months. I just can't take Tim seriously, so I can see him telling Ben to do this. We'll see if it's real. I could totally see Tim telling Ben to make this long statement saying that he's no longer with the show, and then him being back the next episode. But we do know at this point that it probably is real. Finally, Tim can run the show without someone trying to sabotage him at every turn. Tim finally drove this poor Jewish boy insane, and Tim seems like a bad boss to me. So that's kind of like the dynamic that they've always had. And it's honestly one of the best parts of the show. I think when Tim is mean to Ben, it makes me laugh every time because I figure that they're all in on the joke.
I've taken shit from people for no money.
Right.
I've literally, people have shit down my throat for nothing, you know? So, and I was, and again, this wasn't like a thing where I was any abusive or whatever, but I do think on the show, the dynamic of me always being shut up and me, I mean, did you observe any of that, semi-famous Ryan?
Yes, but I thought it was part of the interplay, part of the banter.
Yes. I shot him in the leg once. Now that wasn't part. No, it was. I think it was part of the banter. But no matter how much somebody wants to say it's part of the banter, when I told Louis was like, "Oh yeah." Louis goes, "It's always so funny when you tell him to shut up." But Louis goes, "Oh yeah, I knew that guy was going to quit because he probably goes home and his wife's like, why do you let him speak to you like that?" But it's every dynamic in radio. The producer always sucks.
Yeah.
Go back to Stern. Go back to anywhere. You're always shitting on the producer. This is not new. I didn't reinvent the wheel. This is just kind of the fun dynamic. We spend all our time together. I get mad at him. He'll get mad at me. It's just the dynamic of two people that spend a lot of time together. One's kind of this cranky curmudgeon. One's a young, sweet boy. And I'm kind of being like, shut up. What do you know about life?
Now, not everyone was upset with this news, actually. There were a few people saying that the show's been stale for a while, that it's been time for a change, time to switch things up, that maybe this has run its course with Tim and Ben. This guy said the show's been pretty shitty lately, not gonna lie, and now I see why. Love Ben.
what do you guys think about this? Do you think that Ben just got so tired of being the blunt of the joke that he wanted to be taken more seriously? Because to me, he seemed like as much of a comedy genius as Tim. His timing was impeccable, undeniable. It's definitely not something that he was just, he wasn't just some nobody sitting there. That was some calculated shit. I don't know.
So much. The show will never be the same without him. The Robin to Tim's Batman. Ben commented, my favorite Ben Avery moment was when he left the show. Maybe this is Ben Avery's burner account, actually. And I Ejaculate Fire said, it did seem like the show's definitely gone downhill. Now I know why.
I am going to do my thing. It's still going to be a solo show. We're bringing in new producers. I hired a new guy who's really good. The show needed a little bit of reinvention because it was getting stale. And Ben, I think, quit 2 years ago. But he kept coming in, and that I respect.
Tim also mentioned that the constant traveling and road life of the job might be a reason why Ben was unhappy with his role. He was also newly married, so that's got to be hard to make both things work.
If I can't give you a lot of money, I don't know what to do. I can't make you feel better. I can't make you a comic. He wasn't a comic, and you're sitting next to a comic. There was a lot of travel.
Sure.
I think that kind of wore on him.
He had to go to Australia. That's terrible.
London.
Awful.
Horrible places. And
where do you guys stay? Like he stayed in
Liverpool?
Stayed
in a cheaper place than me, but it was still like a nice. But I think it wears on the marriage. I get it. And he's not a comic, so he's not getting what I get out of it, right? So he's not walking on a stage and entertaining people for an hour. So here's the deal. I think everybody's got to live the life they want to live. And somebody might want to go, I don't want to giggle.
Right.
Like, that's not what I want to be known for. I don't want to be a giggler. I don't want to be a guy who just sits next to a guy.
But now that the news is confirmed that Ben Avery has actually left.
That's honestly hilarious. See, I don't know. I was disappointed with Tim's comedy special. I thought that it was underwhelming compared to a lot of the stuff that he just rants on his podcast. It's not that it was bad. It just... the stuff that he says on his podcast is so next level sometimes, especially because he's a gay man, so he can get away with some jokes that just a lot of people aren't willing to even try. But I don't know if he can even pull it off with another producer. I'm curious to see how the show ends up. I still need to watch that Louis C.K. one.
Tim Dillon Show. A lot of comedy fans are left wondering what their relationship is currently like. Master Kush said, not sure what the drama is, but hopefully all parties are in good terms. Wish you all the best. VidKid said, fucking end of an era. And no one took this news harder than Cal Howell, who said, this news has me more upset than when I was arrested for some weed. Fucking love Ben. I'm just going to pray that Tim and Ben are trolling. Either way, I'm heartbroken. LMAO. Thoughts go out to Cal in this trying time.
Now, listen, I love Ben. There's no ill will. I want Ben to have a great life. Ben and me have had, a major impact on each other's lives, right? Like, we became really close friends. We did a lot of cool videos. He was part of the rebirth of the show in LA. Like, when I went out there to live, he's been there for a lot of crazy moments in my life, and I do love him. And I respect whatever he wants to do, because you get one life.
Personally, I'm going to miss Ben Avery on the show. I really enjoyed the dynamic that Tim and Ben had together. It must have been rough to basically be a lunatic's punching bag for a living, but someone had to do it. It made all of us laugh. So cheers to you, Ben Avery. You truly are good.
But will he become a Patreon member?
I'm sure that he probably has a subscription, or...
I mean, he's going to have to. If he's not paying now, we should reset the Patreon so the password doesn't work anymore.
Well, should we come up with a tier? Should we come up with a tier ex-producer? Where he has to pay like $5,000 a month, ex-producer tier.
And it's just one additional abusive episode.
Yeah, it's just one episode from me to him telling him to go fuck himself. I'm like, I know you're listening to this, you piece of shit. This is the one above the Rothschild. Sit down. Tell your wife it's time for the monthly fuck you.
You forced him to take his part of a severance package?
Yeah. My business manager's like, hello, Ben. As part of the severance, you'll be given several weeks of your salary. Also, Tim has stipulated that for one episode on the Patreon every month, he will insult both you and your wife, and you will have to listen to it. You will have to record yourself listening to it. Like, I should make a stipulation where it literally he has to sit there and have a camera on him for an hour while I just scream at him.
Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to Joke World right now if you haven't. And please, for the love of God, go follow us on Instagram. We are 400 people away from reaching 10,000 Instagram followers. I know it's so stupid to care about Instagram followers this much, but come on, we have 130,000 on YouTube, and we're still in the 9,000s on Instagram. We're posting similar content. You guys would like it if you like this video. If you like this channel, go follow us on Instagram. And if you DM us, we'll send you free stickers in the mail.
Crazy. I never thought that they would ever split up unless the show actually ended. It's truly tragic. All right. So this kept popping up. It literally would not stop popping up. I felt like YouTube was insisting that I see it. Now I do think that Christian Bale is my favorite Batman. It's controversial. We can fight about that in the chat if you want to. Yeah, I'm curious to see what he has to say about his roles.
I don't really know how to do this sort of prep stuff without it being somewhat intensive, because otherwise I just don't feel I have the confidence. I always imagine that I'm going to get to set and the director's going to go, I don't even like this scene, make it up, and I've got to be ready for that. And if I'm not ready for that, I feel very insecure arriving on the set.
Time out. No, this might sound ignorant, but I did not know that he was British. This man truly has a realistic American accent when he plays Batman.
American Psycho.
New card. What do you think?
Whoa, very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone.
Any scene we were doing every single day, I had the book by my side and I would read through it every single time, because Brett had just had so many wonderful descriptions. And I think that was why Mary and I clicked, was because when I first went and auditioned for her, I just went to her apartment and it was just her with a little camera. And I didn't approach it like she said the other actors had, where they were talking about what's his childhood, what's the reason he's become this. I was like, none of that really matters. He's just like this alien. And so as we were doing the scene, I started laughing and she started cracking up, and we both realized we had the same very sick sense of humor, and we were like, oh yeah, all right, this will work between us. She really put herself on the line, you know, and I so appreciate that, because she had so many known actors who were stepping up and wanted to do it, and she just said, no, I want Christian, even though all the financiers were saying, we're going to give you no money, and then actually kicked the two of us off. You know, we went and we did a stage reading in New York for it. Willem Dafoe was there, Chloe Sevigny was there, and Bret Easton Ellis was there, and then we got the money, yay! But what our agents forgot to do, our agents at the time, forgot to do, was to include us in the package. And so we raised the money, and then they said, right, and the two of you, bye-bye. But I went a little bit psycho myself in that I just said, no, I'm still making the film. And even though other people were cast, other directors were on board, I just kept on prepping. And I would call Mary up and she would say, Christian, they've given it to other people. And I was like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. We're still going to make it. And she was like, ooh, he's lost the plot. And all my friends were saying that to me, like, what are you doing? And I was turning down. It wasn't like I was getting offered much, but, you know, a couple of projects, not very good ones. I turned them down and kept on going. And lo and behold, look at that. It did eventually come back. So that
right there is literally the secret to thinking rich and growing rich. He literally just said the formula. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to look into it. That right there is exactly how you get successful. He knew what he wanted. He didn't care how improbable it seemed. And he got it.
Like a great victory. Don't doubt your gut instincts, you know, always listen, always be aware of the style that the director's looking for. But understand, you're always going to bring something unique from anybody else. When there still was the Wall Street trading floors and everything, I went and visited, you know, all different levels of people at Wall Street. But the guys on the trading floor, when I arrived there before making the film, I got there and a bunch of them, they were going, "Oh, Patrick Bateman," and patting me on the back and going, "Oh, yeah, we love him." And I was like, "Yeah, ironically, right?" And they were like, "What do you mean?" So it was always worrying, even back then. But, you know, clearly, look, it's a satire on capitalism in the 80s, and as such is so bloody far-fetched and ridiculous that, you know, to me, I can't help but think it's hilarious.
Do you like Phil Collins? I've been a big Genesis fan ever since the release of their 1980 album, Duke.
I'm not going to ruin anyone's enjoyment and say that I'm not a huge fan and that they're not life-changing songs. Of course they are, for everyone, right? Come on, when you admit it. For me, it's music's so much a part of actually building characters as well. You know, like for Amsterdam, David and I were listening to and watching a lot of jazz documentaries, etc. And I use all sorts of different music to help me, you know, get into the mood when I'm working. Because emotion really comes through the ears. You know, something that you notice when you're in the edit room. You really see how you can see the visual, keep that the same, but change the music, and it absolutely changes the way you feel about it. So it's such a, you know, joy of life.
Get a goddamn job, Al. You got a negative attitude. That's what's stopping you.
I remember somebody threatening me on the street because some people did object to the film getting made and all that. And I remember people saying that they were going to do me harm and stuff like that, you know. And I would actually go like, I remember somebody warned me, must have been a friend of mine who was crazy early on the internet. And they warned me, they called me up and they went, "There's some person and they know where you walk every single day and you go down this back alley and they say that they're going to jump on you and they're going to rip your cerebral cortex out of your head." So
Okay, so I got my chat working now. Do apologize about that. I'll flip over here. So I should have adjusted it. Let me know if you can hear me. It shows that my mic is picking up. This is test 1, so I do appreciate it, you guys. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, let me know if it's better. I'm gonna resume the clip.
please don't go down that alley. So of course I was like, I'm going to that alley. I want to see what happens. And unfortunately, nothing. I kept walking up and down it going, where are they? Come on. What's but nothing ever happened. Batman. I'm Batman. Yeah, what a weirdo, right? Jumping around town at night in a bat outfit. In many ways, in the same way that people were telling me, hey, you can't go play Patrick Bateman, it's career suicide. And I was like, bring it on. I definitely want to do that. Other people also said, hey, you know, if you play Batman, that's it. You're never going to play anything else again. You will always be Batman. And I went, bring it on. Let's see if that happens. Because I just always felt like, look, if I don't have the skill to be able to rise above that, then I don't deserve to either. I absolutely know and cherish the fact that that will be the role I'm probably remembered for most, you know, ever. He's an iconic, you know, larger than life role. But I don't view it really as, oh, being stopped in the street. For me, it was, I could pay off my house. That's a huge relief, you know. That was a dream of mine since being a kid. So I really appreciate that. I thank Chris Nolan no end for that. You know, the experience of actually working with him, of course, and we went on to make, you know, 4 films together. But the fact that that allowed me to make so many other films. You know, for instance, it took Mary a Herculean effort, which I so appreciate, to get me cast in American Psycho. Post-Batman, it got a little bit easier for directors to suggest me and financiers to say, okay, yeah, we'll take him. You've got the wounded child who never moved up.
I apologize, you guys. We got some technical problems. I ain't got my levels right, but I appreciate the feedback. Let me get this going. Let's see if I turn this up some more. Testing, 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 testing. Tell me if that's a little bit better. The chat is delayed, so I do apologize. Yeah, this next one, after I have all this set up, it's going to be a lot better. Okay, alright, so let me see if I turn this back up. Making it louder. Are you able to hear my voice? Is like the audio from the microphone being picked up at, might even be turned down over here. Try that. Are you trying to adjust it? Yeah, I turned it up and I turned down the desktop audio. Yeah, I could actually even turn it down in the video itself.
From the atrocity and tragedy that happens to him when he loses his parents. And then the kind of monster that represents, you know, all his anger, and that he, you know,
is that better?
Concentrates, focuses into this character of the Batman. And then the kind of charade, which is the Playboy, apparently vacant, and that no one would ever suspect of having any beliefs or causes ever in his life. Most of my recollection of making Batman is sitting doing crosswords by myself in a blue tent with very...
It's very quiet still here. Let's see what I can do. Megan said, yes, it's better. Maybe. All right, let's see here. All right, I'm just going to talk randomly into the mic. I'm turning up the audio a little bit more. Let's see here. What else could I try to do to make it louder? Video was quiet now? Okay, I'll turn the video back up a little bit.
Comfortable stuff on because they want to be ready in 15 minutes at any given go. So I was always sitting there and these things.
Video going, too loud now?
4 down. Hello? Is anyone out there?
Come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me.
Heath Ledger, who, oh my God, you know, what a performance. What a pleasure to have gotten to work with him and just to see him, you know, and how much
is
he
that
put
any better at this
into
point?
The Joker. And I was watching it going, yeah. This
the video
is
needs to be louder.
Fantastic. Are we in trouble here? Of when Chris and I first sat down, we said, you know what the problem with Batman is that the villains are always more interesting, right? And so Batman actually, he's very close to being a villain himself. So let's never let him.
Let me know if that's
by
better.
Comparison. And unfortunately, I was sitting there going, I'm feeling a little bit dull by comparison because Heath is just like killing this, and but I'm so proud of that film.
Ooh,
I
that
love
weed's
it.
got me.
The Dark Knight is absolutely.
Yeah, let me know if that's better.
You know, and it was such a pleasure to have gotten to work with Heath.
I don't want to kill you.
Not sure if it's picking up.
What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. You complete me. You're garbage. You kills for money.
Yeah, let me know if it's working.
One of them. You're not. Even if you'd like to be.
He was a wonderful go-kart driver, racer. Yeah,
Video's good.
Went and raced go-karts, and holy crap, he beat all the stunt guys and everything. He was quick. When we went to the track, we thought, of course, the stunt guys are going to win, and then suddenly Heath wins.
Video is good.
Gets top place, and then very quietly
right
mentions,
yeah, and just let me know if
very talented individual and a great soul.
Anything needs adjusted anymore. I think we're getting it though. I appreciate it.
The Fighter. Dickie, he's such a character. Like, he makes his presence felt all the time. I mean, I spent so much time hanging out with Dickie beforehand. And still in touch with Dickie Jr. Being in Lowell, hanging out with him, going walking around, getting kicked out of bars, having almost every cop stopping and going, hey, Dickie, and then telling me about a story about when they arrested him, going to the boxing gym.
Here, I'll pause this again. See, and that's why I picked this lighthearted content, because I knew that there would be some issues, and that way nothing too serious was happening. Mic could be turned up more, not as good as it was. Oh, I don't know if I did something. Let's see here, turn that down a little bit. Turn the mic up more. Yeah, see right here. Is that better? Your voice is better, but not bad. All right, let's see how it sounds with the video itself.
Been in the ring and sparring with him, and oh my
See
God,
if
it's
it's,
really quite something when you might think you
distinguishable.
can, I'll be a decent boxer. You spar with other amateurs and whatnot. I've done that a few times, but when you get in the ring with a pro, ooh, bloody hell. I remember one time he was sitting and he was reading the script, and I was
It's
busy
louder.
doing something else, and suddenly I see him like
Yeah, I
stand
know
up,
there's
and
a
he starts
delay in the
walking
chat,
over
so
to David,
what
like,
you're saying to what I'm
I could
getting is
see,
a few
you know,
seconds
something
behind.
about
I might
it. And I
accidentally
went,
tweet
"Wait,
too
this ain't
much or
good."
something.
Jumped over and said, Dickie,
Think
what?
we might
And
be
just
getting
kind of
it.
talked him down because it was about sort of, hey, look, when you tell someone's story, you got to tell the good stuff and you got to tell the bad stuff. Otherwise, there ain't no story there at all. It was the first film that I've made with David, and so getting to understand his process more, and then he's kind of enhanced that as we've made more films together.
Right
And
on. Yeah, I
loved
appreciate it. You
loved
guys, thank you,
playing,
thank you.
Dickie so much. There were hilarious things, and there was, stuff to do with just sort of almost being shut down by the local cops and things like that. But to me, that's all part of the fun of it. The Machinist.
All right. Well, if we got that, I feel like since we've already missed so much of this video, and this is kind of a test run anyway, I'm just going to go to the next video. We got is that a duck? I'm going to have to get that closer to me. I'm blind out one eye and can't see out the other. All right. So Pokemon is coming out with a new game. And this just released today. I have not watched it yet. I figured that we could have the reaction together. So yeah, let's see what this is about. Oh, a new game trailer. I'm stoned.
All right, everyone. It's almost time to begin your journeys in the Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet games. Are you ready? You'll get to catch Pokemon, raise them, and battle them as you embark on an adventure where the familiar charms of the Pokemon series evolve into a new experience. As a student at an academy in the Paldea region, you'll take part in an independent study program called the Treasure Hunt. And you'll search this vast world for a precious treasure of your very own. But hey, at this point, you probably knew all that already, right? Here's something we hope even you well-informed viewers will enjoy, a sneak peek at 4 particular trainers' journeys in Paldea. Now, let the adventures begin! This trainer is battling a Pokemon called Lechonk. Lechonk is a gourmand. It's proud of its nose, which it uses to sniff out delicious food.
Alright, so first, I'm tired of seeing the same graphics in these games. This is annoying. It's been this way for well over a decade. Just unacceptable. This is the highest grossing franchise ever. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Oh, look! Quaxley terastallized. Terastallizing is a phenomenon unique to the Paldea region, but all Pokemon can do it. It adds extra punch to moves of the Pokemon's Terra type.
I mean, that's interesting.
What's that
for
over
competitive
there?
play.
Is that a glowing Pokemon? It seems to be a Jigglypuff. But why is it shining so bright? Better approach it slowly and start a battle. Whoa! It terastallized! Looks like this Jigglypuff has the water type for its Terra type. Apparently, these sparkly wild Pokemon will terastallize in battle.
Alright. I am underwhelmed by this. With how they were able to build off of their last few games, they easily could have made a true open RPG. I'm honestly so disappointed with it, I'm just not even trying to watch that. Let's go over here. But that said, this shouldn't disappoint. There's a new Super Mario Bros. Movie. We all know how good those have been in the past. Alright, let me pull up this chat, make sure there's nothing wrong with it. You don't want it to be real looking, you like the cartoon type graphics. I'm tired of the shell shading. I think the shell shading is old. I mean, Mario's even went into like the full, I don't know, HD vibes. It just seems like it doesn't belong in this generation. It's so far behind. And the gameplay loop is so repetitive. At this point, they could have real RPG mechanics. It could be a lot more of a Final Fantasy type of vibe, or even more of like a Mother series type thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just burnt out on the games because I play them so much. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's sweet.
Behold, the king of the Koopas!
Oh, I gotta smoke that.
Open the gates!
That is but a taste of our fury. Do you yield? I do not.
This is a Mario movie.
I finally found it. Now who's gonna stop me?
I mean, that's possible. It'd make sense if it was just to save a buck.
Touch that mushroom, you'll die! Oh, I'm sorry.
See, this is a Mario movie, though. This is impressive.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come!
Alright, that's sweet. That's sweet. That might be
Okay, you know what?
I mean, I guess we could watch this. I was totally wrong about the Super Mario movie.
I didn't know if I was going to make a video about the Mario movie. I figured it was a movie trailer. I've never reacted to a movie trailer in a video on my channel, but it is Nintendo, and it actually is a pretty big deal. It's Nintendo's first real stab at making a Nintendo movie, unless you count, and I do, the Mario movie from like the 90s, which apparently I was the only one that actually liked the live-action Super Mario movie.
How could you like
they're
that movie?
trying it again, but animated this time, with Illumination making the movie in tandem with Nintendo. Apparently, they said they've been making it for 7 years, and they revealed it today
Really?
in a Nintendo Direct and at New York City Comic-Con. Now, again, I didn't even think I was going to stream my reaction to this, because it's just a movie. I talk about video games, but I started to realize this could really be the start of something big. And
Yeah, that would be a sweet
it
Easter egg
lead
if they
to a
could
whole
throw in
Nintendo
some kind of little,
cinematic universe with Zelda
even if
and
it's
Donkey
just a
Kong.
little
Did I really
mini
want to
show.
miss the start of it and film my reaction? What if it's bad? Think of the memes. No! Yes!
Production of the
yes!
movie is going
and
well.
No! But we just watched it live, and wow, I actually like it. I actually like everything I'm seeing here. The animation
I
looks
agree.
fantastic. The voice work is actually pretty good. I've been going on and on about this ever since they revealed they were making this movie and gave us that ridiculous cast of characters. What?
First, of course, is Mario,
Whoa, what?
who will be played by
What?
Chris Pratt.
No! Why?
So cool.
What?
Mario
Huh?
will be talking a
Huh?
lot in the movie.
What?
Please look forward to Mario as performed by the very talented Chris Sun.
But every single one of those characters, those voice actors, those people that they hired to be in this movie have not done character work before. Sure, they've been in movies. Jack Black was in Kung Fu Panda, but he was Jack Black. He just did a Jack Black
That's a good pick
voice.
for Luigi, though.
I've done awesome. And Seth Rogen was in Sausage Party, but he just did Seth Rogen. I gotta tell everyone. Like
And Lion
all of
King.
these actors have only ever played themselves, whether it's in a live action movie or a voice acted movie. So I really didn't know how this was going to go. I thought maybe they were going to do a Jumanji thing where a bunch of these like actors, these people in the real world get sucked in to a Mario
Saw that movie.
universe.
Oh,
but
you're talking
then
about the
again, it's
original Mario?
Illumination, and all they do
That
is
movie's so
animate.
crazy.
So surely it had to be
It literally
fully
doesn't make
animated,
sense.
right? So what were they going to do? Make these actors do voice acting for the first time?
Open the gates!
So they are
They
doing
killed that,
character
though.
work. Yes, actually, that's what's happening, and it
They killed
works.
that, though.
The animation's
Completely
really
killed that.
cool. The story looks pretty much as you would expect. You have Bowser going around different kingdoms, I'm guessing, because they're in this snow area that probably has an actual name. I'm a bad Mario fan.
Yeah, I didn't
roasting
know.
all of these adorable little penguins. Very great animation with fun interactions. It's already a funny story, as you would expect, because I've seen the Minion movies and they are funny. But I was so nervous to hear Jack Black speak for the first time as Bowser, and he crushed it.
I do not.
The very first line
Yeah,
he
he killed
delivered
that.
didn't sound like him at all.
Open the gates!
I could barely even tell that was Jack Black. It just kind of sounds
True.
like a badass Bowser voice. The next line he delivered had a ton more personality in it, but it was very in tune with an animated movie version of what I would expect from Bowser. And the way they've animated the face to be all fun, charming, and character, you know, that goes in tandem with having a more natural sounding voice, but it has the Bowser grunt.
I do not.
Jack Black has taken inspiration from the character and how he breathes and talks, and he's worked it into an actual understandable dialogue, which I appreciate that a lot. Then the next voice that I was wondering how this was going to work was Toad and Keegan, because Toad is... It's like just a bunch of these nostril noises. It's like, but it is Nintendo, and it actually is a pretty big deal. It's Nintendo's first real stab at making a Nintendo movie, unless you count, and I do, the Mario...
Whoa, I don't know. I feel like it just went. Yeah, I feel like that thing just tweaked. What just happened? You're over here talking about Toad.
It's like just a bunch of these
Not sure what just happened.
nostril noises. It's like...
Here we
All right.
go!
But Keegan
Think we
even
got
did a
it.
great job at taking the character at Toad and turning it into a voice and putting that raspy element, that long drone of Toad into the talk, into the speech.
Do not touch that mushroom, you'll die!
So again,
True.
we have a great voice acted version of Toad from an actor who usually doesn't do voice work, but these actors are taking inspiration from the Mario universe and implementing them into the characters, which I love.
All right. I'm not sure if I'm able to just keep playing it like that and not talk. So since I'm learning, I'm just going to talk. Is this a movie that you guys are actually willing to go and see? When's the last time that y'all have actually went out to the movies and seen it instead of just waiting for it to just come on some streaming service or just to buy it at home? I feel like this might be worth going out to support.
You got Chris Pratt. That was the one we were all worried about, right? Like, what was he gonna do? Like, I don't think he could do an Italian accent. That would seem a little weird. I mean, Charles Martinet does do an Italian accent, but Chris Pratt doing one, I just don't think as a society we're ready for that. So there was talk of him doing a Brooklyn accent instead and having Mario be from the streets of New York. And
What? How could they make... No.
I did react to this live, and my chat and I had a little bit of debate about whether or not
Doesn't
this
even make sense.
is a Brooklyn accent.
Here we come.
I don't want to act like I'm any kind of professional here just because I've moved an hour away from Brooklyn and I've been there a bunch lately, but I don't know. It's not that thick, I guess. Maybe it's slight, but when you have a slight accent on somebody whose voice is as recognizable as Chris Pratt because he's literally in everything always, it's just kind of going to sound like Chris Pratt. That's just Chris Pratt! Also, the delivery of the voice line, I feel, was a little flat. It's not even got that much excitement in it. Like, he's going to Mushroom Kingdom.
I mean, I didn't even
he's just
really
going,
hear it.
Mushroom
Hold on.
Kingdom.
Here we come.
I don't want to...
I mean, yeah, that doesn't really sound like Mario at all.
Here we come.
Wait. He's right. He is right. That does not sound like Mario at all. That's kind of weird.
Whether or not this is a... I don't want to act like I'm any kind of accent.
Here we come.
I don't want to act like I'm any kind of professional here just because I've moved an hour away from Brooklyn and Kingdom. And he's just going, Mushroom.
All right. Let's just move on to some news because that kind of just hurt my soul. He really does not sound like Mario at all. Well, Biden has announced that he is going to pardon everybody for minor possessions of marijuana. It's probably the only good thing that this man has done.
As I said when I ran for president, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities. And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences. While white and black and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates. So today, I'm taking 3 steps to end this failed approach. First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana. There are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result of that conviction. My pardon will remove this burden on them. Second, I'm calling on all governors to do the same for state marijuana possession offenses. Third, the federal government currently classifies marijuana as a Schedule I substance, the same as heroin and LSD, and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. So I'm asking the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General to initiate a process to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. Even as federal and local regulations of marijuana change, important limitations on trafficking, marketing, and underage sales should stay in place. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It's time that we right these wrongs.
Well, it's literally the only good thing that he's done, although he's only trying to do it for some little last second votes. All right, now it's time to watch The Worst Economic Collapse is Coming and How to Prepare. This man has one of the best channels if you want to figure out anything about the economy, if you want to have ideas about investment. He's just he's a really good go-to. I definitely recommend checking him out.
What's Graham up? It's Guys Hear You. And
oops.
If it hasn't already become obvious, the banking system is in deep trouble. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk about major banks over-leveraging themselves to the point of failure, but as of a few days ago, two of the world's largest banks are currently rumored to be on the brink of collapse, while beginning to draw the comparison that potentially this could lead to a repeat of 2008. After all, the previously too-big-to-fail Lehman Brothers managed $600 billion and took down the entire economy during the Great Financial Crisis, and now both Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank managed $3 trillion, right at a time where they're facing a critical moment after seeing their stock decline 90% from their peak. So given just...
Yeah, I saw an article today, and man, I don't even remember which newspaper it was. It was like a Washington Post or New York Post. It was something, but they were talking about how the upcoming year, towards December, going into the new year, we are going to be in a worse economic, we could potentially be in a worse economic situation than 2008, which it seems likely.
Big of a mess, story this is turning out to be. Let's discuss exactly what's going on, what this means for the entire market, if there's a chance of them actually going under, and then finally how you could use this information to make money on this episode of Elon Musk is Buying Twitter. Again. Although before we start, if you want to be kept up to date with everything involving the markets, feel free to subscribe. It's totally free, takes you just a split second, and as a thank you, I'll do my best to answer as many comments as possible. So thank you guys so much, and also big thank you to FTX US for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. Alright, so in order to grasp the magnitude of what's happening, you first have to understand how the banking system works, and to do that, I'd like to introduce you to Credit Suisse, or Credit Suisse, depending on how you want to pronounce it. They're one of the world's most prominent global banks with more than $1.5 trillion under management, offices throughout the entire world, and a designation as one of the systemically important financial institutions of 2022. Or I guess more simply put, they have a major impact on a variety of money-related transactions, and because of that, they've been ranked as one of the necessary operations that keeps our economy going, as basically being too big to fail. However, a look into their past gives us a little bit of a different picture. For instance, in 2017, Credit Suisse agreed to pay a $5.3 billion fine for overvaluing mortgage-backed securities during the 2008 Great Financial Crisis, which resulted in, and I quote, the loss of billions of dollars of wealth and a painful toll in the lives of ordinary Americans.
So they're like equivalent to the pharmaceutical companies is how that sounds. It's kind of sweep it under the rug and make you not remember the $5 billion that they had to pay. Like it's crazy how they can get away with that.
In fact, the settlement announced that the bank knew it was peddling investments containing loans that were likely to fail and did it anyway. But that's just the beginning. In 2009, they forfeited $536 million for violating the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. By 2014, they pled guilty to assisting U.S. taxpayers in filing false returns while paying another $2.6 billion fine. In 2021, they lost $4.7 billion from a failed investment that defrauded its clients, and in 2022, their clientele was leaked to include individuals that would literally get this video demonetized. But then we have their counterpart, Deutsche Bank. Similar to Credit Suisse, they're also one of the world's largest banks, controlling over $1.5 trillion and making it to the list of companies who are integral to the smooth functionality of our economy. Except they've also had their run-ins with the law. For example, in 2007, they were fined $7.2 billion for misleading investors with irresponsibly issued mortgages. In 2015, they were ordered to pay $2.5 billion billion for rigging interest rates, and from there they faced a variety of legal battles from tax evasion, sanctions violations, and money laundering. Although in terms of what's happening today,
how are companies allowed to continue on after doing such egregious actions repeatedly, unless they're slipping money into the right people's pockets?
Why people are calling for the possibility that both of these banks could collapse, here's what you need to know. All of this began just a few days ago when the CEO of Credit Suisse made a statement that the bank was at a critical moment and tried to reassure employees not to confuse the day-to-day stock price with the firm's strong capital base and liquidity position. Why would they say this, you might ask? Well, in addition to their stock price having declined 90% in the last decade, they're about to undertake a major restructuring to try to return the company back to profitability. But in doing so, they need to raise a lot of capital. And some see this as a last-ditch effort to stay afloat, much like Lehman Brothers did right before their widely publicized downfall. See, in order to operate, banks must pass what's known as a stress test to ensure that they could survive a wide variety of financial conditions. And their latest results were less than optimal. Yahoo noted that their Tier 2 capital is lagging behind regulatory requirements, which means the bank lacks the necessary capital to restructure successfully. And shortly after that was released, everything broke loose. Over the weekend, Credit Suisse employees began reassuring their customers that everything was okay, and as you would expect, that had the opposite effect.
Sounds like people might want to consider watching their specific financial institutions, because, I mean, it's undeniable that we are going to go through some kind of global unrest economically. I mean, what has happened to the Nord Stream 2 alone is going to have giant repercussions on all manners of our life. We don't even understand. It's going to be crazy. Oil is everything. So, yeah, we need to be watching our banks for similar activities.
Your bank suddenly calls you out of the blue on a weekend to say, hey man, I just want to give you a heads up here. You know, everything's totally fine here at the bank. There's no need to worry. You know, we got all the money we need. Yeah, you know, everything, just trust me. Just trust. Okay, cool. All right, have a great weekend. Bye. You'd probably panic, and that's what's leading the internet to building up into a frenzy. Once investors began digging deeper into company financials, critics warned about their path moving forward, declining financials, and dwindling returns that could have a significant impact on the entire market. And all of that starts with the term known as credit default swaps. Now, I know this sounds complicated, but just imagine it like this. Anytime a bank issues a loan, they have the option to purchase a credit default swap, which acts like an insurance in case they don't get paid back. In this case, one bank is able to transfer the risk to another bank for a small fee, and then that second bank takes on all the risk. Now, in the event the second bank has to pay back the first bank, they aren't completely out of luck because they'd assume all the rights of the underlying investment, and they're collecting enough of a premium from other credit default swaps to offset the risk. However, if a bank issues too many credit default swaps and they don't have enough cash on hand to cover all of the insurance payouts, then potentially they would have to raise a lot of cash to cover all of those losses, and if they can't, they go under. This is similar to what we saw throughout the 2008 Great Financial Crisis, where banks like Lehman Brothers collapsed from a lack of capital once they couldn't pay for non-performing loans. And now the concern is that history is beginning to repeat itself. Besides looking identical to Lehman Brothers in 2008, investors are pricing in the strong likelihood that one of the largest banks is about to go under. So in terms of what this means for you, your money, and the market, here's what you need to know. Although before we go into that, the stock market is not the only topic that's gaining a lot of attention, because cryptocurrency is also going through its regulatory framework that would help make it a safer place to invest, and our sponsor FTX US is there to help. They've been working closely with regulators to help the entire industry grow and evolve, with their founder Sam Bankman-Fried pushing for much-needed regulation along with proposals that could expand the options of investing. On top of that, they also just won the bid to buy out Voyager Digital for $1.4 billion, all from a company that was started just a few years ago. And today, FTX US is one of the largest US-regulated cryptocurrency exchanges in the world, with millions of users who buy and sell both crypto and NFTs with fees that are...
See, that's interesting, because when I was just watching how the markets were going for crypto, and just thinking, you know, once it gets super low, it's going to shoot back up. we're going towards a digital economy. We're going towards a digital market. I think this right here is the sign we were all looking for, folks.
To 85% lower than top competitors. That means you're able to save more money on every single transaction, and they also allow you to set up an automatic recurring deposit so that you can dollar cost average into the markets on a regular basis in less time than it takes you to comment for the YouTube algorithm. Just select what you want to buy, how much of it you want to buy, how often you want to buy it, and then swipe right and you're done without any additional work on your end. So if you're interested, feel free to use the link down below in the description with the code Graham and get all the way up to $100 worth of free crypto as a bonus depending on how much you trade, along with free crypto on every trade you make over $10. Again, the link is down below in the description to get started today, and now let's get back to the video. Alright, now in terms of what's happening today, I never thought I would say this, but this thread on Wall Street Bets summarized the situation perfectly, so I'll be linking to C to the C down below in the description for anyone who wants to follow along. But in terms of the most recent events, it was found that they might not be able to meet their credit default swap obligations, which, as I explained before, means they might not be able to pay off their debts. Second, their co-head of global banking is suddenly leaving after only 9 months of being promoted and over 27 years of working within the company. They've also continued to be on the losing end of bad trades, with their most recent deal resulting in a $6.5 billion debt that they'll be stuck with indefinitely. As a result, they've been scaling back on their entire operations by potentially cutting 5,000 employees. But with an $800 million pending lawsuit and other potential upcoming issues, they're at the point of needing to make a pivotal move, and fast, if they want to survive. Deutsche Bank is in a similar position as well. Their share price has been steadily declining after a series of poorly timed investments and buyouts, and now concerns are growing again about their future and whether or not they can make it through. So in terms of how this might play out and the impact for the overall markets, here are my own thoughts, because hopefully this should provide a lot of context. First, should either one of these banks fail, there would be a rather devastating effect throughout pretty much everything. For example, in 2008, when Lehman Brothers collapsed from over-leveraged bad mortgages, their bankruptcy resulted in 26,000 job losses, a complete credit freeze as loans dried up, and losses across the entire market as people worried about how their own investments would be impacted. On top of that, more than 75 other bankruptcy proceedings followed the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers, so the collapse wasn't just limited to one company. Not to mention, people are starting to draw some eerily similar comparisons between 2008 and today, including the fact that Lehman Brothers also announced a new survival strategy just a week before its collapse. Credit default swaps also spiked in the moments leading up to their bankruptcy, and they were only 1/4 the size that Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank manage today. Meaning if either one of those banks were to collapse, it would have a catastrophic effect throughout the global economy. In fact, both of those banks are even listed as systemically important financial institutions, meaning they're deemed to pose a serious risk to the economy if something were to happen to them. As a result, it's theorized that these would be the banks who are deemed too large to fail and would quickly be bailed out as a last case resort, only because their bankruptcy would have an even worse impact throughout the market. Although in terms of what's actually happening and the chance of either one of these banks going under anytime soon, just keep this in mind. Even though their stock price has absolutely plummeted, investors are concerned, and credit default swaps have skyrocketed to the highest level ever, some analysts believe that a Lehman-style moment is unlikely and that internet speculation has gotten out of hand. For example, JP Morgan went on record to say that the bank's capital was healthy, other analysts say that they're in a tight spot but unlikely to fail, and Citibank says this isn't 2008. However, at the end of the day, it seems almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where the more people believe them to fail, the lower the price goes, and the less likely they are to be able to restructure in order not to fail. After all, they're beginning to lose private bankers in Hong Kong, turnover is increasing, and even a former Credit Suisse trader himself tweeted that all rumors are false until officially denied. That leads me to believe that despite the sensationalized headlines, there is a risk that the world's largest banks could be in trouble. But let's also be realistic. They've grown to the point where they can also be supported by government funding in the event that their downfall will lead to a global catastrophe. It's also said that they currently have $100 billion worth of buffer capital, and even though that can only go so far, there's nothing to say they can't receive additional money should they need it. So all in all, yes, there is a chance of the bank defaulting, the global economy falling apart, and all of us looking to Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank as the culprit. But realistically, it's undetermined if the government would even allow that to happen in the first place. And honestly, the most we could do at this point is simply wait to see what happens and subscribe, because I promise I'll keep you updated. So thank you guys so much for watching. Also feel free to add me on Instagram, and don't forget that you could get all the way up to $10,000 as a bonus when you sign up at public.com/Graham using the link down below in the description, depending on how much you transfer from another brokerage. Enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
Don't you love it when they just slip in to subscribe? I promise you, you will not just get that from me. If you want to subscribe, then do that. You know how to do it. People subscribe if they want to subscribe. Always, it's a pet peeve. Alright, that said, I feel like this is a solid first stream. I'm going to cut it here. Again, I was just playing some like kind of bullshit content. I mean, like, it's all good content, but just I'm gonna be a lot more controversial with some of these videos going forward. It's gonna be a lot more heated, but I wasn't even sure how this would work, so I just got super stoned and tried to just relax and go with the flow of it. I appreciate all the feedback that I got from you guys. Ooh, I see I've been missing some messages. Can you hear me again? Shows that it's popping the same. Let me see. Something get punched. Yeah, I'm not sure. But I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to see if I can figure that out. I appreciate y'all for sticking through and letting me know how it was going. Yeah, it's going to get a lot more controversial going forward. It's going to be fun.